Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's me, Caitlin Murray. So, I said last video that I was going to be doing a Halloween-themed video, which, according by title, I'm not doing because, well, I failed. Even though it started in September, I did not get to watch exactly 31 Halloween-type movies or horror movies. So, I got out like 30, and I was like, I didn't really want to force myself to try and get to 31 to make a video when it's already November, and I feel like you guys wouldn't really care anymore because like Halloween's over, sadly. So we'll do that, but I'll be doing something like that for Christmas. But yeah, so basically this is a video that I tried to make 6 minutes in of editing, and guess what happened? My brother threw my phone in the toilet, and that's why it's gone for a whole 2 weeks. So I'm going to try and redo this video, and we're going to hope that Daniel does not put my phone in toilet. But yeah, so just go on my Tubi's worst to best, and I do have my Netflix ones. I'll have in the description where you can watch these movies if they are not on Tubi anymore, and if you cannot watch them on your streaming service, how much you will have to pay to rent or buy them. I think I just put rent. But yeah, social medias are right here, and let's just get on with the video. So the first movie that we have is May. This one was exactly a 1 out of 10. I was expecting a lot better of a movie because when I heard about it, it was like a girl who's obsessed with dolls or whatever. And she makes people into dolls or whatever. So I was thinking of that one episode of Criminal Minds. But then it wasn't. It was really bad. The girl, May, was really like weird and creepy, which I think she was supposed to be weird and creepy, but at the same time, a little too weird and creepy. So, yeah. And then it was just the whole plot was really stupid. Basically, she does what she can and gets him, and she thinks he's cute, and then when she gets him, something happens, so then he thinks she's weird, and they break up or whatever, and then she kind of wants to get back at him. Or I don't remember. But yeah, so I really did not like this movie. Probably would have gotten like a 0 out of 10, but the guy was hot, so went up to a 1. But then we have Starry Eyes. This one is a 3 out of 10. A little bit better than May, but honestly not a lot better. I was expecting it to be really good because when I watched Sarah, aka Possessed by Horror, talk about it, I think this movie is going to be freaking awesome. No. Basically, we have this blonde woman who wants to be an actress, and she really can't find a good gig or like a good movie to star in or whatever. So then she does this one thing, and then she gets to go into this role, but she kind of has to like sell her soul or whatever to become who she needs to become to be in the movie star. So like she's like reborn. Like basically her entire body like degrades, and then she like becomes reborn. Has a whole bunch of nudity scenes. And it's someone's doing something in the city. But yeah, I didn't like it. So yeah. Then I watched The Hills of Eyes, and I watched the 1977 one. No, 3 out of 10 is what this got. When I heard that The Hills of Eyes movies, when I heard like those were the movies that kind of inspired the the Wrong Turn movies, I was expecting them to be really good, but at the same time not that good because it was made in like the 70s, but still expecting it to be good. But like this whole movie was really boring. I had to like force myself to keep watching. I had to force myself to not turn it off because a lot of times I wanted to say screw it, turn this off, but because of you guys I kept it so I would have a good enough review for you guys. But yeah, these people are gonna go to San Diego, California, and they go into the mountains for a shortcut, and then they basically get stuck, and then inbred cannibals go after them, so they have to save themselves. Does have animal cruelty. A dog does die in a scene, so if you cannot deal with that stuff, I would not watch. Then I have Chained. That is a 3.5 out of 10. This movie, again, I had to try and force myself to kind of watch it, but then I guess like the ending or a little like twist or whatever, it kind of made it worth it, so that's why I went to a 3.5 instead of a 3. Basically, we have this mom and her son, and they go to the movies, and on their way back, they go into a taxi, but then what it turns out is that the taxi is actually a serial killer, and then he gets women does stuff to them and then kills them, but this time he got a boy too. So, spoiler alert, which really isn't a spoiler, he kills the mom, does the stuff to the mom, he does to everyone else. And then he kind of keeps the little boy as an apprentice, but then when the boy gets old enough, he kind of tries to teach the boy to kind of go in his footsteps. So it's like that. It's really boring. If you cannot deal with sexual assault, do not watch, because that's basically what the entire movie's about. But the twist at the end or whatever, that did make the movie worth it. So I would just suffer through it. Then I watched Eden Lake, which that is a 4 out of 10. A lot of people seem to like this one, which I didn't really like this one. It just wasn't my kind of movie. But again, it has animal cruelty, so do not watch it if you cannot deal with that stuff. I feel like I should tell you guys this, because I know some people get sensitive about that stuff, and I don't want to know that it has that stuff in the movie, then not tell you guys, and then you guys watch a movie, and then can't deal with that stuff. So yeah, basically we have this couple, and then they go to just this weekend away, and the man decides, you know, gosh, I really gotta stop messing with my hair like every 5 seconds of my life. But what happens is that there's just these teenagers, and they kind of mess around, try to be kind of teenagers, jerk teenagers, basically, and then something happens, and the teenagers basically want to try and kill them, and the boyfriend kind of gets stuck on like a tree or whatever, so then she is kind of running for her life, which movies like that I don't really like. I don't like watching it on just one person trying to survive. I like watching it with like a group, and then they get picked off one by one. Like, those are the type of movies that I like. But then I watched Cube. It has a 4 out of 10. I was expecting so much better, because they said this is kind of like Saw. I mean, I guess it somewhat makes it up for Saw. There's also 2 other movies. And I guess there's a Chinese remake, or a Japanese remake, whatever language it is, that's coming out soon. I'm never going to try and watch the other 2, because this is not good. Basically, there's people, and they're stuck in this cube, and then they try to kind of figure out their way around it. They also try to figure out the way to kind of know what room is a trap and what room isn't a trap. So it has a bunch of math. And then there's probably this kid, I think he has Asperger's or autism, one of the 2, and they're completely rude to him. Ticks me off, because I hate watching movies where they say the R word, and then when they are completely rude to special needs kids. So like those type of things really tick me off. But so yeah, and then the ending kind of made me like, it was just weird. I didn't really understand it. But yeah. Then I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That is a 4.5. Do not recommend. It is, there's like not even a plot to it because of how bad it is. I feel like it was made just because they were bored and they wanted to make a second one, but they had nothing. So they just like, I can't even come up with full sentences of how bad it is. Like, I do not recommend it. It is so bad. And then I watched Triangle. This one is a 5 out of 10. This one's a little bit better. Kind of messes with your mind, but then like at the end of the movie, everything kind of makes sense. But then we had this girl, and then her friends go onto this boat thingy, and then they kind of get shipwrecked. But then they go onto this big little, one of those yacht thingies. But then it turns out that it's abandoned, and then there's like a mass killer on the loose. So then it also turns out that the one girl keeps reliving it over and over and over again. And those type of movies I'm not the biggest fan of, so it's like that. But like, it is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting. I think the ending's really interesting. So yeah. And then we have VHS. This one, I think I changed it to a 7 out of 10. Because right here I have it down at a 5, but then I kind of like went back and evaluated my score. So I think it's at a 7 out of 10 right now. But yeah, so basically it's just a whole bunch of VHS tapes. Basically different tapes, and then it has this big story that people call them break into a house to go get something, and then they go and they watch the tapes. So I think the tapes, honestly, I haven't watched Viral yet, VHS Viral, but I have watched VHS 94. So out of like just 3 I've watched, they have to have the best interesting tapes on VHS. So I do recommend this one. And then I have Intruders, which is a 5 out of 10. And basically this one is this woman, and she is like scared to go outside or whatever, and then someone in her family dies in the house, and then there's like a funeral, and people expect the woman to not be there, but then they didn't know that she doesn't like leaving the house, aka me. So they go to like burglarize the home or steal something, but then she's there, so then she has to like fight for her life. But then she kind of changes it, so, like she traps them, and they had to kind of fight for their life, which is really weird. Like the more you watch it, the more you're like, oh my gosh, this woman screwed up. Then I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. That is a 5 out of 10. I mean, it's okay. When you hear about the set and how like the people had to live on or whatever, it does make the dinner scene really kind of whatever. But yeah, I mean, they go to this house, and then there's Jeg. I think that's his name. I don't remember his name. Leatherface, and then he chases them. And yeah, so it was interesting. Not as much as a mistake like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Then I watched I Spit on Your Grave 3, Vengeance is Mine. This one, there's like 5 Spit on Your Grave movies. There's like an original, and there's the remake. And the third one would be like the person from the remake, and there's another one, the fourth one, and that would be like a continue on from like the original. So this one has to go from the remake. It basically kind of shows what happens after I Spit on Your Grave and after all that happens. And then she kind of becomes a vigilante, like when there's these people who deal with SA, sexual assault, and then they kind of like don't go to jail, and then people don't get justice. She kind of like kills them or tortures them just to stop. Which, I mean, I think the concept is really cool. Like, if there's a sexual assault person, he did it, and like he's done it or whatever, and he doesn't go to jail or whatever, I feel like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, But yeah, and the ending was a little weird, but I mean, yeah. So that was a 5.5 out of 10. And then I watched Across the Universe. This one's a musical. I hate musicals, honestly. Like, I'm not even that good. But basically, we have Jewel and I don't remember. Jude. It's Jude, not Jewel. That thing's gonna frick me up when she hears I called him Jewel. Jude and Lucy, and they fall in love. It's just a whole big love story. I don't know, it's weird. And then I watched Sleepaway Camp. This one was a 6 out of 10. This one was honestly really weird. It was this person, Angela, who goes to a camp and she doesn't speak or talk or anything, so she gets made fun of. And every time someone makes fun of her, something like kills the person or whatever that's made fun of her. But whatever. The ending was a little bit weird, a little twist. So yeah. Then we have An American Crime. That's another 6 out of 10. That one was really weird. Again, as based off a true story. Basically, we have these two parents. I think they're like circus people or whatever. And then they have these 2 girls. And then they want to go swim, but they don't want their kids to come for whatever reason. So they just fight in a total stranger day. The girls hung out one day to take care of the 2 girls. So what happens is the dad says like once a month he'll give her the money, and then what happens is 1 month the dad didn't give them the money when he was supposed to, so then the woman took it out on the girl. And it's just, stuff happens to the little one, but the older girl, she gets a lot out of it, and it's honestly really disgusting seeing it, and just seeing everything happen. It's really hard to watch knowing that's actually happened to someone. Like, torture movies are already really hard to watch, but then when you see like it's actually happened to someone, it makes it worse. So there's that. But it has Evan Peters in it. Honestly, I didn't really like his role in it. It was just like, of everything he's played in, this has to be like the worst one he's played in. We have Apartment 407. This one, basically, we have this girl, and she was going to a modeling agency, and she was really careful. Like, the first day, she had a ride. She let someone know where she was going, like, if anything happened, and it was all good. And the next day, it was safe and everything. So, of course, didn't really have all the precautions she did on the first day. But then what happens is, basically, it's his own little human trafficking ring place. So basically has her chained to a bed, and then men pay him and do stuff to her. So the movie's sickening, it's terrible. It's a real story. So, you know the girl survives. It is sad, because I think it said like 0.1% of people in like human trafficking get out. And the guy who did it still hasn't been found today. So it is sad, but yeah. And then I have the Haunting of Molly Hartley. This one, I'm not the biggest fan of supernatural movies, so that had to be why it's not my biggest fan of a movie. But Molly was, her mother tried to kill her, so she goes to like a new town, a new school, a new house, and then she's becoming 18 or whatever, so like weird stuff kind of happens to her, and then she kind of finds to figure out what the heck is going on. It also has Nate Archibald for Gossip Girl on it, so yeah. And then we watched The Girl Next Door. This one is just like an American Crime, not even gonna lie. Like, I got these ones mixed up a lot. I had to like really think about it when I think about these two movies. But actually this happens is the people who do it aren't strangers. It's her aunt. So basically they were in a car accident, the girl, and then her younger sister, and the parents died, so they, of course they had to go to the aunt. And then the aunt is a witch and basically does like everything to the older sister. I think again one thing happens to the younger sister, but it's not fair, and you watch it and it's disgusting. And then all the neighbor boys come and participate in it. It's really disgusting watching it. And this one kid, he knows what's going on is wrong, but yet he will not tell anyone. So it stresses me out at that point too. But like the one time, like, so yeah. And then I watched Jessabelle. This one was interesting. For me not liking supernatural movies, I actually really enjoyed this one. So we had Jessabelle, and then she is pregnant, and she's about to move in with her boyfriend, or fiance at the time. And there's a car accident, so she gets paralyzed from the waist down. But I guess like after a month or so, like she was in like therapy or whatever. So she just has to stay like a month at her dad's house, but she hasn't been there in forever. And then like she'll like be back to normal, which I don't think when you're paralyzed, you can't go back to normal after it. So then weird stuff starts to happen, and she starts to kind of uncover the truth of her mother. And then when she's uncovering the truth of her mother, she uncovers the truth of herself. So then we have The Call. This one is really good, really sad, honestly. So we have this woman, and it's a 911 dispatcher. There's also another movie like this. I haven't seen it yet, but it has like the same like plot. It's called The Guilty on Netflix. Basically, this woman then she was on this 911 call, and this girl, there was someone breaking into her house, and then she was on the phone trying to help her, and the police got to her too late. So then, of course, the woman couldn't really do it anymore because it kind of messed her up. But then one day, a call, kind of similar thing happens, where this girl is at the mall, and then she kind of gets stuck. Not stuck, kidnapped, put in the trunk, so she's on the phone with 911 dispatcher, and they're trying to find out who did it, where they are, because you're in a car and you don't know what the heck is going on. So it's a little stressful at times because it makes you upset, and but then it's also good. I really enjoyed it. Really sad. A lot of times I wanted to cry. Like, 911 dispatchers do not get a lot of credit. I think, it's easy. But when you're on the phone just trying to help them, not being able to do anything, I can't even imagine that. And then we have The Crush. This one I love. Wesley from The Princess Bride. He's in it. He plays The Crush. And then my girlfriend Cher from Clueless. She's in it. She's the one who has the crush. So my two favorite people are in this. And then what happens is this guy moves into like this house, and it's like a guest house and everything to go write like a story. But then this girl, I think she's like 15, has a crush on him, and she does really weird stuff. So I just talk about pedophilia just because she has a crush on him, but of course she makes it look like he's done stuff to her. So, yeah. And then I watched Psycho's Path. That is 6.5 out of 10. Also, I'm not telling you guys a lot of these. If it's like a 6, and I won't tell you guys what the next rate is until it's like a 6.5 or a 7 or whatever. But I will have it up here, like all the 6s, all the 7s, so you guys know. But he was Psycho's Path. This one I thought would be like the Criminal Minds episode where the one guy was in custody and then they're trying to find him. I thought we'd kind of see it from like the Psychos perspective. We saw it from the police perspective. It was really boring, honestly. It really didn't have much in it. So, yeah. And then I have House of Wax. This has Abby from the ranch, and basically her and her boyfriend and her brother and then her friend and her friend's boyfriend are going to go to a football place, but then they camp out for one night. And then when they wake up, one of the cars will not start. So they meet someone, and the guy says, oh, I'll take you to this gas station that has the part that you will need. So the, I'm trying to think, y'all. The girlfriend and her boyfriend are gonna go. Turns out that the place is really weird and wonky. So then I think the brother tries to save his sister, and it's really interesting. I really do like it, so I do recommend. And then I watched The Prince and Me 2, The Royal Wedding. This one is, well, they got rid of the original princess from the Prince and Me, like the original girl, so it was different. So I didn't really like that because I liked how the girl did. But basically, we had the girl and she's engaged to the prince, but then she's also trying to, like, you know, in the role becoming that she's gonna become a queen, and then the whole she wants to be a doctor, so she's in college. And what happens? Basically, the prince is told, if you marry this woman, you're not gonna be allowed to be king. So then they have this other girl come in that he was supposed to marry when they were a kid. So it's just all over the place. Then we have the 2010 version of Spit on Your Grave. This one, basically, we have, I think her name's Jessica, and she wants to go to this just nice little cabin to go and write, and then 4 guys come and, yeah. So it is, the assault is really gruesome. I had to close my eyes at some point. I had to, like, skip it or whatever. It's really gruesome, but then what you guys don't know, well, you guys should know, she does get back at them. So when you're watching it and you watch the amazing torture they go through, it's amazing because, you know, they get what they deserve with pieces of crap. And then I watched She's Too Young. This one's really good. It has to have, I think it's an 8th grader. And then she has these friends, and her friends kind of are like the ones who go out with guys, who do drugs, or like those type of people. So, and she's like, you know, like the good kid who doesn't really do that stuff. And then she meets this guy, and what happens is he's older than her, and then, of course, just kind of talks about the whole, like, thing of, like, teens kind of being not forced, but, like, what they think, and they have to do stuff to get men, and then the whole thing of STDs and everything. So I think it's a really, really good movie. I like it. Then I watched VHS 2. So I switched VHS 2 and VHS 1. So VHS 2 on here, what it was on thing, is on 5. It's a 7, and the first one's a 5. So the little worst to best is a little mixed up at this point. But after I evaluated, I realized I liked VHS more than VHS 2. So yeah. But we have VHS 2, basically the same thing of VHS 1. I didn't really like the tapes this time. They were just weird. And there was one, the dog, and the dog was like whining the entire time. That was really sad. So yeah. And then we watched According to Greta. That's 7 out of 10. This one, if you guys cannot deal with suicide or suicide talk or anything with suicide, I do not recommend you watch it. Because we have Greta, and basically she goes and moves in with her aunt for the summer or whatever. Basically, she talks about how she wants to end herself. So, she has like all the ways that she thinks she wants to go. So just, you know, it's like a coming of age story or whatever. And it has Hilary Duff, but it's okay. And then we have The Assault. This one's really good. It's sad. Can't do a sexual assault. Do not watch it. Basically, we have this cheerleader, and then she was assaulted by someone on the football team. And she didn't know who because she was like drunk and everything. So then she tries to uncover what really happened that night, and also with the whole court thing, because she does try to get them in the trouble they deserve. So it's really sad. And then I watched I Spit on Your Grave 2. That's a 7.5 out of 10. This one is the same thing, but not. It's about a girl who goes to a modeling agency, like Appointment 407. And then something happens. One of the guys come into her appointment and do something. And when they realize, oh, you did, she wouldn't get a lot of trouble, you get DNAs everywhere. So they kind of kidnap her and bring us to like this foreign country. The torture is way worse than the first one. Just letting you guys know. So, yeah. Hills of Eyes, the 2006 remake. This one is better. I do say, like, a lot of times, people are like, oh my god, the remakes suck. This is, like, the best remake ever. But it's really good. Basically the same concept. I do think you should, if you're going to watch The Hills of Eyes, the remake, you should maybe watch the original, because I think it's cool trying to see all the differences they put in the movies. But when you watch The Hills of Eyes, be careful, there is a sexual assault scene, so just be careful when you watch it. And then I watched Do Not Reply. This is a really good movie. Basically, this girl, and she's on this match website. Basically, she talks to this guy, and they seem fine, and then they go to meet each other and everything, but then he kind of like drugs her and then takes her to his house, which I think it's a really good one, basically talking about like meeting people online and how it's not really safe and how you can get kidnapped. So there's the other girls there, so like she's trying to save them, but I think it's a really good movie. I really recommend you watch. And then you have Do Not Hang Up. That's an 8 out of 10. This one have these two guys or three, and they pull a bunch of pranks, and then something happens and goes wrong, so someone basically pranks them and says, do not hang up, or I'm going to kill your family. You have to do what I say, I'm going to kill your family. And then we have Train Abuse, and this one I watched the dubbed version. Everyone's always like, don't watch dubbed, don't watch dubbed. I don't know how people are able to watch a foreign language movie, because the entire time I'm sitting there reading the subtitles instead of actually watching the movie, and it's really annoying. Like, I like having subtitles, but I just like them being there. When sometimes I'm deaf and I can't hear, but like when you're watching a movie and you literally can't hear anything it says and it's just the subtitles, I don't know how you guys do that, but there's a dubbed version and the original version if you guys want to watch it. I like this movie. It's a good take on the zombie portion. It's going to be of this man and his daughter, and for her birthday she wants to go to Houston to meet her mom, so he goes to a train, and I guess it's overrun by zombies or whatever. So I think it's really good. It gets sad at some points, not gonna lie, but I do recommend you watch it. I do wish it somewhat said why the zombies were there, you know? Of like why people are turning into zombies. I think it has like a little talk about it, but then it kind of just switches it off. So yeah. And then I watched Vile. This one, really good. Basically we have these people, and I guess there's something in your brain. So like when you're in pain, you produce this energy, like this like drug or whatever, and they want that to make a drug. A chemical to make the drug. So basically, a whole bunch of strangers, like friends or whatever, put in a room and they have to go and get this like a pain thingy, and it has everyone, they all have to work together to get to 100%. So it's just all the ways they find to torture each other and everything. So I really liked it. Really good. If you guys cannot do torture, I don't recommend to watch, but so good. The last movie that is best out of this list is the one from the Suburbs. This one really good. This one does bring light to human trafficking and honestly just how scary it is and how sad it is and what happens and everything. So we have this girl and then meets a guy and then she gets stolen. But it also talks about what it's like for her, like what like the trafficking is. But I also like is how it also shows the mom trying to find the daughter and kind of how difficult it is to find them, you know? So, yeah. And how like in the movie, it's just like people don't really care about human trafficking unless it's your daughter that's been human trafficked. So I really do recommend you watch that one. If you guys enjoy this video, I'll see you guys next week.